Hi, my name is Ella Foster Molina, and I'll be teaching the section on data visualization. Data visualization starts the same way that all data exploration starts. It starts by understanding what the data does say and what it doesn't say. But perhaps more importantly, the next step is actually to start thinking about what this data can say and what it might not be able to say. And this is where things start to get a little bit fuzzy. We tend to try to think about data as if it were perfect, as if it was going to give us the truth about the world. But the truth is that we're never going to get all of the data that we actually need to understand the world fully. Instead, we can do our best guesses to try and interpret the limited data that we have. And there is no machine in the world at the moment that can do that better than the human brain can. The human brain is uniquely designed to try and figure out and to interpret patterns in human behavior. Computers can help, but they're nowhere near close to replacing what humans can do. This section is going to guide you through how to think critically about data, how to visualize those patterns, how to come up with multiple theories about what the data could be saying, and rule out some things that the data can't be saying. We're not going to come to any conclusions. We're going to be using a really fascinating data set on which counties voted for Trump and which individuals voted for Donald Trump. But we're not going to come out to any conclusions on what exactly drove voting patterns in 2016. Instead, we're going to come up with ideas, and we're going to map data and visualize data in ways that help us understand what's actually going on in this world, even if we can't for sure say that one thing happened or another. So in order to do this, we're going to go through an introduction to data. We're going to talk about the various theories that happen that people have posited for why Trump won. This is a really big surprise in political science, the idea that Donald Trump would win the presidency. But he did, and so we're all back at the drawing board trying to figure out why that happened. I think it's safe to say that Donald Trump winning is the biggest surprise in American politics in at least the past 2 decades. Then we'll start thinking about how to visualize patterns in data in some basic ways using a classic data set called Anscombe's Quartet. We're going to talk about theories of visualizations, specifically theories about data. How do we think about the patterns that we could see before we actually see them? And this is a really important step to prevent data mining, which is making overly firm extrapolations about the data after we've seen it, and not thinking critically about what those patterns might look like and might mean before we've actually seen the data. We do this because the human brain tends to latch onto a pattern and treat that as gospel truth, even when that's the interpretation they're making of that data is not necessarily the accurate one. For the theory of data for this particular project, you're going to be working with a partner. If you haven't yet, please go sign up at the Doodle poll so that you can be set up with a partner and a time to meet with a TA. This will be absolutely critical to completing homework 3, which is due at midnight on Monday, July 1st. Once we set that base work, thinking critically about the data, initial visualizations of the data, theorizing about what the data could possibly say, then we're going to start getting into the more complex graphics. We're going to look into mapping data. We're going to look into the various ways that we can visualize discrete data, which is a completely different can of worms than trying to visualize and map things that have percentages or continuous numbers like income. If you're trying to visualize the correlation between gender and race, well, there isn't a correlation between gender and race, but the technique for doing that is much different from visualizing the correlation between the percent of a county that has an high school degree and the percent of the county that earns over $75,000 per year. So we'll be looking at plotting in 3 dimensions after we do that, and this is the part where it gets really cool. Understanding the complicated relationships in data is actually a really unexplored part of data science. To be able to actually map and visualize and manipulate data in 3 dimensions or more than 3 dimensions, something that I hope that you'll be able to learn a lot from and develop better theories about voting data. So that's the overall structure of the course. Some of the videos are going to be required. This one is not, but some of the videos are replacing readings. They're providing content and material. So I will highlight those and let you know which ones are going to be critical to completing the homeworks. There are a set of additional readings that you could choose to read if you want to that are uploaded on Moodle. You don't have to read them. It just, if this happens to spur some interest, please take a look at them. I am aware that this is a politically sensitive subject, what we're going to be talking about. And I want to let the data speak for itself as much as possible, with the caveat that you can never interpret data without some preconceived ideas about which data pieces you should be looking at and what the limitations of that data is. If anything comes up that seems particularly problematic, please reach out and just let me know. I said this briefly before, but I'll say it again. It's a politically sensitive subject, but it's so important to understanding how the world is working right now. And political science is just barely beginning to scratch the surface of this new world. I think that there's a really good chance that you guys can come away with some insights that really almost nobody else has at the moment. So I hope you enjoy this section, and I look forward to working with you.